Hey guys, hope you're all well. In today's video, I'm going to be going to Yaya's. Now, Yaya's are a little bit of a mainstay in Manchester's Cheetham Hill. They've been there for a while. I've been there personally a few times with my family, but that was many years ago now. So I'm quite excited to actually see if they're as good as I remember. So on my way there now, walking towards Cheetham Hill. Let's go get some really, hopefully, tasty steak. Okay, so I'm inside, a little bit nostalgic actually. I've not been here for a while, but I have been a couple of times with my family, so it's quite nice to come in and sit down really. I'm gonna have a quick look at the menu. I'm gonna try and get a few different bits and bobs from that menu, so I'll try and show maybe a couple of stars, a couple of mains, so I'll try and cover different bases, because I know some of you like steak, for example, some of you like chicken, so I'll try and get a few different bits and bobs. But anyway, I'm gonna look at that menu now, and then we'll start that review. So yeah, what I'm going to do, guys, just a quick one. They do have a specific menu for I guess like a COVID menu, like a takeaway menu, and then they've obviously got their own menu which is sit-in. So I'm going to try and get items that are yes on this, so you can order it right now. But a lot of these items I think will actually be on their main menu as well. So just to show you, they've got two different menus. Also worth noting, I believe they've currently, from the date of this video, there's a current offer on Deliveroo. I think it's 25% off if you do order from Deliveroo, but do check that out. Don't quote me on that. Okay, so I'm going to start with starters, and also these two very bougie looking drinks. So I'll move on to them as well, but I want to go with the starters whilst everything is actually hot. So we've got some fish masala, which I love. I love fish masala. We've got some lamb chops. As you guys know, I love myself some lamb chops. And also, I've got something which I haven't had before, which is nachos, sure, but these have actually got keema and cheese and jalapenos. That's a massive portion as well. So looks and smells fantastic. I'm looking forward to tucking in. Let's start with, do you know what? Let's go with the masala fish first. And if you notice, it's got some very bougie bits of tartar sauce there as well. Good bit of presentation. This looks good. Let's give it a go. You can tell things I've got on bougie because I'm actually using a knife and fork. Go to my videos and count how many times I use a knife and fork. I pretty much hand everything because I go to takeaways. But it's really nice in here. They've got some really, really nice looking dishes, really well presented as well. So I thought I'd wear a nice jumper instead of my gym clothes. I thought I'd use a knife and fork. The fish is piping hot. It's soft, it's really, really flaky as well. I'm liking the sauce addition to it. I think what I would do with this, there is a little bit of side salad there. I'd actually maybe add some sort of acidity, some red onions, but the fish itself is really, really tasty. Oh, sorry, as I say that, they must have predicted there's actually a bit of red onion already in there, so ignore what I just said. I'm loving the actual batter, there's a bit of chili on there as well. Let's now move on to the lamb chops. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the lamb chops. These look awesome. Look at them, they're nice and chunky. You get 3 in a portion as well. It comes with just a really nice looking chutney there on the side as well. I had a little taste of that off camera. I think there's some mint in there, some coriander. It looks good. It's more of it's less of a sauce, it's more runnier than a sauce. I think I'm going to give it a good old dip. Look at that, guys. Does that not just look like perfection? Let's try this. They're much chunkier than I thought they would be actually. There's a really decent amount of meat there. As you can see, I can just pick it off, you know, with my hands, which is telling you it's nice and soft, nice and tender. The seasoning on there is really good. The marinade is really good. I feel like the marinade is for quite some time because the flavor's sunk all the way into the meat, which is delicious. Okay, so 2 for 2. Should say there's a good amount of kick on those lamb chops. So if, like me, you do like a little bit of spice with your meat, particularly your red meat, I think you'll enjoy that because there is a really decent amount of kick there. Good body of flavor, but definitely there is a kick there. Let's now move on to the dish I mentioned before, which I've never had before. These are, do you know what, that's a pretty hot plate. Whenever people say, does everyone else do that? Whenever the waiter comes over, he says, brother, it's a hot plate, don't touch it, you just go like that. You just do that. I do that all the time. So this is nachos for sure, but instead of like a chili, which you might have had before, this has actually got a keema, so it's a little bit of an Asian sort of desi variation, which I think sounds really interesting. And it's got a ton of cheese on there as well, so let's tuck into that. Do you know what I'm going to do, guys? I'm just going to show you the keema inside because there is a lot of meat in there. So if you look at that cheese, you look at the amount of meat there's in there, that's very considerable. Look at that. It looks awesome. Right, let's do it. Never had keema on nachos. Absolutely delicious. That's so different. I actually don't necessarily love chili on nachos. I think keema's a much, much better addition. There's a ton of nachos at the bottom as well, actually. A lot of them have still retained some of their crunch as well. So I think if you're a cheese fan, if you're a keema fan, if you're a nacho fan, I think you're really going to enjoy that. For me, I'm a massive crisp fan and the other stuffed cheese. And keema and whatnot. So for me, it's pretty perfect, really. Have a look at that. Okay guys, so very tiny intermission whilst mains come out. Starters are really, really good. So I've got a couple of drinks here, as you will agree they are very, very bougie. So I've got a daiquiri that's spilling over a little bit because I'm chatting off camera. So I've got a daiquiri there, and I've got a mojito here. Okay, so this is a berry mojito, this is a strawberry daiquiri. It's melting a little bit. As you science fans will know, that's called the Archimedes principle. So as that melts, that will overflow. But if the ice was like that on the glass, due to the Archimedes principle, it wouldn't spill. But the portions are massive, and as daiquiris should be, it should be like a little mountain. So let's give it a go. You know, daiquiris always remind me of going on holiday, because that's where I have them. Like a hot climate. This is tasty. It's like almost like a slush puppy. Very, very strawberry. It's really nice. Moving on now to the berry mojito. You might have had a normal sort of mint mojito. This one's a berry mojito. That's nice too. I think with that one, it's got quite a strong like a fake berry flavour, a little bit for me, so it's a little bit sweet. I would say it's a little bit too sweet, but the strawberry daiquiri is the one that I would go for. I think that's really tasty. This one, for me, a little bit sweet. Quick one actually, whilst I'm on the subject of mocktails, I'm obviously having them in the glasses because I'm sat inside. However, if you were ordering it and having it delivered to your house, they have these really, really cool pouches as well, so it'll be delivered in that. I'm actually going to start, guys, with the Yaya's chicken special. Now remember this dish because I'm pretty sure if my sister's watching, get her to put it in the comments. I think she had this the last time we came, and I'm sure I snuck a bite off her plate, I'm sure. But let's give this a go. So this is a chicken breast. It's got a load of cheese on there. There's some chips, there's a side salad, there's some mash. Also, they've got some special sauce as well on that chicken. Let's give that a go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it. I'm going to bring it to the camera, guys, to show you, because it's actually really considerable size. This is good for cheese fans, I think. Ton of cheese, good amount of chicken there as well, and their special sauce. You know, almost tastes like a pizza on top of chicken, but in a really, really nice way. It's like a high protein pizza. What I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to take some of this chicken. I like the sauce, it's got a good kick to it actually. And take some of the chicken, have it with some of the mash as well. I have to say the portion sizes are really considerable because you've got a good amount of chicken there, a load of protein. You've got a really good amount of vegetables on the side as well. Actually a very, very generous portion. A massive dollop of mashed potato as well, and a really generous and healthy portion of chips there as well. So this particular dish, there's a lot going on, so I'm going to sort of pick at it now and then I'm going to move on because we've got a really delicious looking chili chicken dish, and we've got a great looking braised beef dish. Actually, it looks really meaty. I'm really looking forward to tucking into that one. Moving on now to the chili chicken dish. This actually comes with rice, salad and noodles as well. And actually, again, like a lot of the other dishes, the portions I think are really, really good. I haven't tried it yet. It looks great, looks really vibrant, looks really colourful. But portion size, again, look really good. I'm not sure if the camera is really picking up the colour there. It's super vibrant, which is lovely. So I'm looking forward to trying that. Bursting with flavour. It's not as spicy as you might think. It does have a kick to it, but actually it's fairly mellow, so I think it's actually quite a well-balanced dish. You've got spice from that chicken there. You've got other dishes, like for instance the keema's got a good kick to it. This dish definitely has a kick to it. It's called chili chicken after all. However, looking at it, you might think it's a bit too spicy. It's not. I think the flavours are actually balanced really, really well. Especially, I would imagine, if you have it with some of the noodles, that'll make it awesome. I'll say this is one of my favourite dishes I've had here, actually. I could eat this all day long, every day. This is really tasty. There's a ton of meat. And I love the sauce. Like I said, you guys know I'm a spice head, but I don't like it when spice is just there for the sake of it. Here, it just has like a little kick to it, but there's a good depth of flavour in the actual sauce too. It's really nice. I'm not sure if it's got a decent amount of pepper in that, because I think, I'm not a chef, so I probably can't guess. But there's a good amount of tomato, there's a good amount of pepper, there's a good amount of seasoning in that sauce. And nice little kick. Right, moving on now to the braised beef dish. Look at this. How delicious does this look? What I like actually is the chili chicken dish. It's got, I'm tasting like maybe sort of Japanese or Pan-Asian influences in. I'm not sure exactly where it's from, if I'm being completely honest, but I can taste some sort of Southeast Asian influences in there. This just looks like a meat and two veg, which is awesome. It looks delicious. So I'm just going to get my fork in there. Oh, do you know what? Cameraman, come down here. Let's see how soft this beef is, because it just pulls apart. Sorry, I put him on the spot. He wasn't prepared for that, but look how soft that is, guys. Right, let's try this meat, because like I said, as you can see, super soft. Let's get some of that gravy as well. It's on a bed, actually, of mash, which, again, if you follow my Instagram, which you all should, you know I love meat, gravy, and mash. I have it a lot. Hey, man. Do you know what? I think that's probably my favourite dish. I know I said it was that, but I hadn't had this yet. The chili chicken was absolutely delicious. I love that. I would eat that regularly because it's chicken, it's lean, blah, blah, blah. But, to be clear, this braised beef dish, man, this was not on the menu when I came here before. If it was, I would have got it. This is absolutely delicious. This gets a hey, man. The meat is so tender. It's so soft. It feels like it's been cooked for about 30 hours, but like really slowly, if that makes sense. Like a slow cook thing. I imagine they've probably braised it for maybe 6 to 8 hours, to be fair, but it is incredibly soft. The gravy is delicious. The mash under there just gives it a little bit of velvetyness. It's absolutely delicious. Even the green on top, I believe, is kale. I could be wrong there. I'm not totally sure. It's absolutely phenomenal. If you're coming to Yaya's, obviously get some of their mainstays. They're famous for steak. They've got a chicken steak. The chili chicken dish is great. The starters are great. But if you haven't had this, I would implore you and invite you to try this dish, actually. The braised beef is absolutely knockout. I'm loving this dish. Okay, so something I forgot to do is actually try the sauces. To be fair, I didn't necessarily forget. It's only because I didn't want to have the sauces with chicken. Normally I'd have them with steak, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to chip them. So let's start with a creamy peppercorn. Kind of tastes how you would imagine. Actually, it's got a much more creamy consistency than obviously a typical peppercorn sauce. It's quite tasty. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for the normal peppercorn, because I'm generally not a fan of creamy sauces like hollandaise, béarnaise, that kind of stuff. I'm not generally a fan. I know a lot of you like it. Let's try the normal peppercorn. That's the one for me. Dip your chips in there, dip your steak in there, dip your chicken in there, in the peppercorn sauce, put that on top of the mash. That's really good. Right, so that was an awesome meal. I really enjoyed that. I hope you guys have enjoyed watching as well. The dishes were all really good. I think my my favourites were actually definitely the beef. That was 10/10. That got a hey man easily. I really liked the chili chicken. The keema nachos, the chops were fantastic as well. So they're sort of, in my head, they're the standout dishes. But all round, I think a place like this, they have a good amount of consistency. Like I said, I've been here before, so the quality is very consistent. So that's a really good thing. But yeah, they were my top picks for sure. Would highly recommend you guys check these guys out. They do have a takeaway menu at the moment, I think. Just peeping over to the menu, they're on Uber Eats, Deliveroo, who have that deal which I mentioned to you guys earlier, and they're on Just Eat as well. So do check them out. But I'm going to leave their details in the description if you do want to check them out. Thank you so much for watching right by to the end, guys. If you like the video, you know what to do. Like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe if you want to see more. Bye.